I go from 0 to 7 million as a realtor? So I'm Jessica Hensley. A little background about me. I started as a realtor in 2003. I was 18 going on 19, and that year I sold probably 10 or 20. I actually did very well my first year in Stillwater, Oklahoma. All of my family lives there, and I did have a really great support system. I was the 18-year-old that was very confident and was able to speak with adults. I grew up as a pastor's kid, actually, so my entire childhood was spent with adults and being able to speak with them and, have really good conversations and debates. So that was no problem for me whatsoever. So when I first started out, I was actually primarily doing for sale by owner, and I did open houses a lot to generate business. I remember I would actually clip out for sale by owner postings, and I would paste them onto a 3x5 card, and I had a 3x5 card box that was my CRM. I didn't know any better. Of course, it was 2003, so we didn't have all the social media. Facebook, I don't think, had even been invented yet. So it wasn't even an option for me. Had I stayed in Stillwater, I believe I would have steadily grown my business year after year. But I got married. See, it's always because of a boy, right? So I got married and we moved to Kansas, and we moved to a little bitty town called Caney, Kansas. There is less than 2,000 people there, I think maybe 1,500. And I was 20 and nobody knew me here. And so it was just a really hard start. So from that time, I really, really struggled when we lived here. And I virtually sold none. In fact, I think from 2003 till 2014, in total, I sold less than 50 homes. That is not good numbers, right? But in 2015, I feel like I cracked the code. I figured out that by utilizing social media to its fullest, I could go from a nobody to being virtually omnipresent in my market, just doing a few simple things. I did not pay for ads, and I did not buy leads. So that year, I became the #1 residential agent, solo agent in my market, and I sold 78 homes in 2015. I discovered that social media was an untapped resource for me, and that it was the best way for me to grow my real estate business. In 2022, I sold 138 homes. In 2023, I was right under 100. The last 8 years, I've virtually been in that 100 mark. And the last 3 years, I have only been working in my real estate business less than 20 hours a week. And I'm doing that with the micro team concept that I kind of stumbled on by accident as well. And I'm now teaching agents how they can do it. So we're going to talk about all of that in this presentation. So this is me and my family. This is my husband. I'm married to a cowboy. We have one son. He's 11. And I joined EXP in 2019. By the way, this program has nothing to do with EXP. You do not have to be an EXP agent to work with me as a coach, but I'm just sharing kind of some of my rewards. I was with Keller Williams before I was with EXP, and I was a capper every year there too. And before that, in 2015 through 17, 18, I owned my own brokerage. So, but anyway, since I've been with EXP, I've been an Icon agent. I'm expecting my 4th Icon award to arrive any day now. And then this was my 1099 income in 2022. I don't have my 2023s yet. So here's my advice to you. I would say for you to remember that this whole real estate business is a process, and don't get frustrated with yourself when you're in the beginning looking at somebody's middle or end of their career. But I will say you can get there faster by following the footprint. So you will only be successful if you have a system. I tell people, show me your systems, and a couple things. Show me your systems. I'll show you your checking account. Show me your calendar, and I'll show you your checking account. And show me your friends. So those are 3 things. Like, do you have systems? Do you have control over your calendar? And do you have a great sphere that is pushing you to go to the next level? Are you surrounding yourself with the people that have the life and the business that you want? You can't just throw spaghetti at the wall and hope that you become successful. And another thing I want to point out here is a lot of coaches will tell you that you just need to focus on your sphere. And while sphere is definitely a big part of my system and my lead generation processes, if you rely only on that, you're not going to see the success consistently. You need to have additional sources beside your SOI. So exclusively asking your sphere, it's not going to give you a predictable business. Then you need to find a repeatable system to follow every time to predictably generate leads and make money. Following systems and proven process is going to be the key to taking your real estate business to the next level. So remember, follow the footprints. I've actually written a book this last year, and it was the #1 bestseller on Amazon. You should go check it out. You can get the ebook for only 99 cents. Okay. And by the way, it comes with a free course too. And it shows you how to build a real estate team. In my opinion, the right way and the only way you should ever start a real estate team is with a micro team model. You can also get the paperback for less than $10. This is, again, my family. Henry's face there is so funny. And I'm speaking from experience. I sell over 100 houses a year, and I work less than 20 hours in my real estate business. And my goal in life is to help as many moms specifically have this life as possible, have this business. Listen, you can have this business. If I can do it, you can do it. Trust me. So there's a common problem that we all know too well. And the problem is most realtors are teaching you an outdated method. Maybe you are a part of a brokerage that you have like an old school broker and that was actually my problem, to be honest. I was with a broker whom I loved, by the way. He treated me like a daughter, but I was with him I was with United Country Real Estate for 11 years, and I was with this particular brokerage in Kansas for 9 of those years. And he was old school. He was an old school cowboy. He wasn't open to trying new things. Any idea I brought to him was turned down. He taught me how to write a contract, but other than that, did not teach me how to market myself or to get business. The methods are old. They're not predictable. They're not sustainable. And it becomes an absolute nightmare for realtors. They lose so much time and thousands of dollars trying to figure it out. And that's what I felt like. I was searching for a way. I was like, there has to be a consistent way to get business. And this is it. This is what I find has worked for me and for the agents that I coach. It is having a system, and we're going to talk about it later in this presentation, but a systematic approach to showing up on social media. So you're attracting your ideal client, and you have a process that you take them through once they come into your world. That's the #1 thing I see agents mess up on, is they might be able to generate the opportunities, but they lose them because they're not putting them in their CRM. They're not staying in touch with them. They're not following up. I have closed more deals from people that I randomly talked to 5, 6, 10 years ago, sometimes 15 years ago, because I made a connection with them, stayed in touch with them, and then they thought of me all these years later to either help them buy or sell or refer me to a family member. So you can do that too. And that's what I'm showing you how to do. So the solution is focusing on attracting clients instead of chasing them. Social media compounds, which means the more you post, the more you will reach, and have a system that nurtures your leads and turns them into clients. I mentioned I was with United Country for 11 years. This is my work history. I did take a break from real estate. So, I'm not one of those agents that's going to be like, I was successful from day one and like, you can do it too. I mean, honestly, I had a hard time of it. But if I knew what I knew now, I would never have gotten out. I would have been able to stick with it. But when the crash happened in 2007, I ended up taking a job at Arvest, and I became a financial advisor. This is from 2005 to 2011 because I was a teller first, and I actually left. I left thinking I would be full-time real estate in 2007. And so that whole year I was, I think it was 2007 and 2009 actually, or 2008. I mean, I was full-time real estate, and I probably sold 25 houses that year. And, it was decent money. It was okay. It definitely replaced my income as a teller, but then the crash happened and we could not give away a house, and I was panicking. So I went to Arvest and I became a financial advisor there, and I got my Series 7, my 66. If you know about that, then you know that those are very hard tests. Series 7 is an 8-hour test, by the way. It makes the real estate test look easy, but I managed people's investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, all of those things for 2.5 years. And it was really good experience. And I'm so glad I got that experience because I can now speak, knowledgeably about investments and insurance. And really every little mishap I had along the way led me to where I am today. But I just wanted to share that because it's real life. It's if you have been in the business for a while and you haven't seen just a straight path to success, don't give up. It doesn't mean that you're somehow less than or not worthy of success or it's not possible for you to have success. Every experience you have builds on each other and you can have this life too. It's not too late. And I hope that this program and my systems can help you. And in fact, I know they can. So here you can see some rankings, 43 million in sales. Now this is actually only, it says from 15, but my brokerage or our area switched MLSs and it stopped tracking for some reason. So this is actually more like from 2018, I think. Well, no, it would be 20 is when we switched. So this is from 2020 to 2023. This is how many I sold, 311 houses there. So yeah, I have sold a lot of houses. All right, so there's the 80-20 rule. This is something that is a very key concept for you to understand. And that is this Pareto principle, which means that 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. So if you can reverse engineer that and kind of think about your overall activities and ask yourself, what am I doing that is producing the most results? And what are the things that I'm doing that either somebody else could do or I could eliminate from my calendar altogether? And if you can get that out and you can focus on your 20%, that is exactly how I'm able to work in my business less than 20 hours a week because I keep narrowing it down to only doing the things that's the highest and best use of my time. Would you rather cold call, buy leads, and hope to maybe talk to somebody that is interested in working with you? Or would you rather post on social media and attract leads that are ready to work with you? Last year, we focused on our top 20% of lead generation activities, and that resulted for my team more than 80% of our business. So it's all about posting on social media, setting up the right systems, and becoming the go-to community expert. The social media passive lead system is the best and most predictable way to make money as a realtor. So as a community expert, you'll be able to stand out from other real estate agents in your local area. This means that you'll be attracting more leads that trust you and they'll naturally want to work with you. The key here is that you need to be an expert in your area because if you struggle to lead your client and repeat tons of generic information, your client will not trust you and they won't want to work with you. Create specific content for your local area so you can showcase your knowledge and experience about your area. Live like a local. Immerse yourself in the local community to truly understand its dynamics, whether that be schools, amenities, entertainment options. So a little tip is if you get asked a question often, write those down because if somebody's asking you the question, that means other people in your market will want to know that. That's great content for your social media. Just simple things like that, showing up with answers and being the resource, it's going to set you up and it's going to attract the right person to you. For example, there's really three, I have several ideal clients, but I've narrowed it down to three that we really market to. And that is the first time home buyer. And so everything I post typically will relate to that first time home buyer. Next, I focus on investors because I'm an investor myself. And I believe that real estate's the fastest path to wealth in our country. And I want to help as many families reach that wealth as possible. So I like to be a resource for investors and showing people how to become investors. And then the third source I have is estate. So I deal with a lot of families that have had inherited properties. I'm very close with probate attorneys and get referrals from insurance agents and people and like funeral directors. I'm in the know with people that will refer me as an real estate agent that I'm going to help them with their final essentially selling their inherited property. And so I like to put out content that educates people on how to set up their estate, how to do transfer on death deeds, there's a number of things that I can talk about with those, but ask yourself, what are you an expert in? What can you provide value on? Who do you want to work with? And that's the content and the people that you want to know in your market. That's how you're going to set yourself up as a community expert and to attract those type of leads. And we talk a lot more about that within our course and our coaching programs. Social media passive lead systems. Most beginners guess and throw their money away by buying leads, or they waste hours and hours cold calling. That's because they're misguided. We want to get on social media as soon as possible, and we want to attract leads instead of tracing leads. And I hope that that's you. If you do this properly, you'll be able to create a system that allows you to attract leads on autopilot. Doesn't that sound great? Where they're messaging you because they've seen your content. The key here is to create content that speaks to buyers and sellers that want to work with you right now. So the six-figure nurture system. The reality of attracting leads is that not every lead will be qualified when you speak with them right then and there. This doesn't mean that you should throw them away and never talk to them again. You want to nurture them. So I mentioned this earlier, but the number one thing I see people do is getting an opportunity and then essentially squandering that opportunity because they're not following up and they don't have any kind of a system or process to put that person in. And listen, writing it down on a Post-it note is not a process. I have talked to so many agents that tell me, oh yeah, I have a notebook that I put them in. Okay, well, if you're like me, I often lose notebook, or I'm like, where did I put that? And there was so many, I was having people slip through my hands. And so before I created and really dedicated myself to a CRM, and I have a whole process for that I share with you in our program and our coaching systems. And it's a game changer because you're going to be nurturing them and you're not going to lose. Most people don't even realize that they lose 5 to 6 figures in commissions if they don't follow up and nurture their dream client. Because you have to create a sequence of specific follow-ups for the seller and the buyer. For example, if a buyer and seller get the same generic contact, then they're not going to feel like you're giving them advice and that's relevant to them in their situation. So that's why understanding your CRM is key. Once you do this, you'll be able to have a filled pipeline of qualified leads. There'll be no more feast or famine months when you have this. So, and lastly, the micro team is a game changer. Most people think that to scale and to be successful as a real estate agent, you have to build a traditional team. And when I say traditional team, what comes to your mind? I'd love to hear that in the comments below. But when I ask most people, they think hiring a buyer's agent. They want to hire another agent to build a team. Well, what if I told you you could build a team without splitting a commission? That's what I teach you how to do. And again, it's a game changer. It enables you to build a business where you have surrounded yourself with strategic hires and I'm not saying full-time $45,000 salary hires, okay? There is a number of different ways to pay people. In fact, you can even do VAs. But if you do it with the method that I teach, which is understanding your business, knowing the different departments, knowing what everyone should be doing and have a specific job description. By the way, I have all of these templates so you don't have to recreate it. It's really simple to plug and play the right people and to be very effective. Them to be effective, I always say that your hires should not be costing you money. Anybody on your team, an employee or a contractor, should either be bringing you money or freeing up your time so you can bring in more. So it's not scary to build a team. If you have enough business that you need to be going on more appointments rather than worrying about paperwork, it's probably time. So the key here is to focus on hiring a few strategic hires so you can focus on the parts that you love. And again, I detail this in my book. It's not about having the biggest team. It's about having a team that profits a lot and allows you time freedom. The average agent that works with me is having a profit margin above 30%. And that's pretty unheard of on these big teams. Why? Because they're spending a lot of money buying leads and they have a lot of turnover with their agents. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Focus on profit maximizing micro team instead of building a huge team that's filled with agents that don't even produce. So I hope that you learned something. Those are a few ways that I went from 0 to 7 million and now, upwards of 16. I sell over 100 houses a year in a very rural community with a low price point. Just think if I had a $500,000 price point, and maybe some of you that are watching are there as well. So you have a lot of potential, and I've seen this system work with people in Canada, in Australia, in the UK, all over America, and virtually every state. I can't think of a state we haven't helped. So this can work for you in your market, regardless if you're in a big city or a little city. I got you, okay? All right, moms, I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.